Central Club.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Re-Inspire Printing. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the club, and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. Today, we have our second, we've done over 100 episodes now, and this is only our second interview that is done over Zoom. But it is our first ever interview with someone across the pond. We've actually done an American before, but actually in the UK. We're actually talking to someone who is in the state of Arizona, a special guest, someone who I watch a lot of, someone when I have had a long day in work, in the rat race, and I decide to wind down and listen to some real stuff, not the stuff that, mainstream media push down our throats, but information that some people overlook and some people shut down very quickly. I think a lot of you out there, you might be shocked with some of the things we talk about. Some of you might be familiar with this, but I don't want to waste no other time, but warmly welcome, it's Doenut.
Yo, what up? It's Doenut. Thank you so much for having me on. Hello.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, great introduction. That's what a fabulous introduction. It made me feel good that we're talking about topics that are different than from the mainstream, and to just feel I really like what you just said. Thank you.
That's not a problem, man. Honestly, I myself, I think the majority of people are, digging deep and looking at other avenues now and questioning things, especially since that terrible word. But yeah, this is what my platform's about, we upset some people with some certain guests, but we're here to, I don't like to say voice the unheard, because it's not, well, it is. Some people are gagged, but also question everything. And I think you do that really well. There's a comedic side with you as well. You've got a great personality, man. And I think the first thing we would like to do is just ask for the people, if you give a little background of yourself.
Sure. I grew up in Las Vegas, and my mom liked to play X-Files before I went to bed. So I think that was the start of me being freaked out by the paranormal, feeling like there was always an alien or something watching me out the window. But growing up in Las Vegas, there was a serial killer that was working right next to my parents, who I met. And I had this gut feeling to go into the back of his work, because my parents owned a leather shop, and I'd always play in the back, and I'm like 5 years old, and I wanted to go into the back of his shop, but I didn't, because he kept grabbing me and telling me to look at this spy equipment that he was selling. And as a 5-year-old, I felt I don't want to hurt this guy's feeling. His stuff is stupid, but I don't want to hurt his feelings. So I had like emotions of good and bad at such a young age. Turns out the guy was murdering women in the back of his store. He's in jail now, ironically, out here in Arizona. I moved to Arizona at 17, and I just was doing drugs, alcohol, just a teenager, just angry at the world, scared of the world. A lot of fear driven, which I didn't know was fear until later on in life when I got sober eventually. I moved to Sedona, and Sedona is like this hippie town in Arizona. There's a vortex there, all these red rocks, and people are a little too open-minded there, but they're open-minded. And I would get DVDs of like the movie Endgame. And I think that I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm a millennial, and the millennials were introduced to Jordan Maxwell through this movie called Zeitgeist, and which I think is like a total, that movie and the guy who's putting it on, it's super sus. And then they made the second one, which was all about like communism or something. So, but there's something with the millennial that we saw something like that on YouTube than our parents, who've never seen anything like that and didn't have YouTube. So I feel like this generation, as the Illuminati and topics like that have been talked about for a long time. Anti-Masonic parties, Mason parties, secret societies run deep in the world today and all throughout history. So it's always been a topic, but there's something different about the millennial.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was born in 91. I think that classes me as a millennial. I get so confused because they've changed, they did change the names of them, didn't they? Like the Gen Z, the Gen X and whatnot. But yeah, no, there was that, all of that you've just said, so fascinating. First of all, congratulations on your sobriety. That's a big topic we push here. The fact that you moved to Sedona, it sounds very similar to a place called Glastonbury, which is in the United Kingdom. We have Glastonbury Festival there. There's a lot of like it's built on ley lines and this type of stuff. Even like not far from Wiltshire, in Wiltshire, sorry, you have like Stonehenge, places like that. But there's like, it's a town where a lot of people go there and they never leave. Which I don't know, it sounds pretty bad, but it's good, that open-minded, the rebellious type of thing, I've seen like some videos of where you live, and it looks like another planet, like, out in the desert and stuff. So I can imagine like your mind is more free when you're kind of in a place like that rather than being in a city. Was you from Vegas then? Was you actually in the city of Vegas, or?
Yeah, so I lived in the Vegas in the 90s, which was a smaller town. It's really grown quite a bit. And now I'm in Arizona, Scottsdale, Phoenix, which is like a city. So when you see that cool footage, I actually like live in the city. I got to go drive out there to like Sedona or a hike. I would like to live there so I could be more like out there and viewing nature. But I'm in this gridlock city. And I feel like these cities that we're in are putting us under a hypnosis, the way that it's designed. We're hearing a lot about these 15-minute cities, but just the way the whole city's set up, the green, the red lights, like everything's like pulsating. And I think that the elites hack into this pulsating like frequency of time is illusion, right? So I feel like we're under something, but so living out there, it's more chaotic, but there's not as like nature. It seems chaotic, but it's not though. So it's
definitely something about people having that urge, that subconscious feeling to get off the grid. You're talking about like the pulsating, the cities, the way they're set up. I'm sure you've seen the comparison with motherboards and actual city grids. They actually look identical. It's actually scary. I seen one, and it just looked like ancient Greece ruins, but it was the double. And I seen one of like a city skyline, looked like kind of like the Twin Towers and stuff. And they say like stadiums and stuff are and energy harvesting. They're like batteries that harness. And then you have like the football teams that are opposite, the blue and the red. So they're against each other. And yeah, it's super fascinating. I think we are going to go deep down the rabbit hole here, Doenut. I'm not going to lie. What was the first icebreaker for you, would you say? What was the first thing? Obviously, growing up, like you said, you slowly kind of fitted into that. But what was the thing that made you think, nah, like we're being lied to?
For sure. Well, I was raised in Vegas in the 90s, so I was a punk rocker. So I always liked punk music. You can't do anything as a kid in Vegas. So I would go to the punk shows, and you got Jello Biafra from Dead Kennedys speaking. And so it was very politically charged, questioning the government as a young kid. So they had the song like F Authority and all that by all these different bands. So it was just this rebellious spirit, even NWA, F the Police.
Yeah.
My babysitter would play that for me. So I always had this questioning attitude. But it turns out that all that music was CIA operated for me to be rebellious, because they know the youth will be rebellious. So they hijack that. They know the youth is angry right now. They got anxiety. They're pissed off. So they direct that rage through purposes like climate change or whatever. So you see all these kids like going to jail for this stuff. The elites understand that psychology, but that is sort of what was waking me up at first, was the music. my mom, very open-minded. I'd go to temple, and the rabbis, I went to an Orthodox temple, so the rabbis were always questioning like the world I lived in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is like the opposite of
City of
religious
sin.
orthodoxy,
Yeah.
you know. So I had two polar opposite stuff where I was questioning. So the punk, being confused with religion stuff, and what really probably was the start.
Yeah, and like you said, zeitgeist. That's something that you know. I think even my dad might have heard of now. It's like one of those those kind of first level entries into that world of conspiracy they call it. But I beg to differ. Um, yeah, Jordan Maxwell, you was a big fan. You've actually had him on your show, haven't you? Obviously, God rest his soul now. But I assume that he kind of taught you a lot as well.
Oh yeah, I'm like the biggest Jordan Maxwell fan. I got to talk to him 4 times. I
Wow.
have one of his last interviews up on my channel. Very awesome guy, totally opened my mind. And when I first heard him speak, I got this gut like reaction of like, oh no, that's not real, and turned it off. So and then I couldn't stop thinking about what he said, and then I would go back to it slowly, and then I'm like, oh man, this is, oh man, oh man. And yeah, I got to talk to him a bunch of times. A lot of the foundational work that I do started from listening to him, listening to other people I found throughout 2012. There's so many researchers out there that are so great, and I'm just walking on the shoulder of giants with my stuff, trying to add something new with what's going on today, because I focus a lot on pop culture and celebrities and rituals. So just taking what they did, the foundation, and then building upon that.
Yeah, definitely. I totally get that. I love the fact that you're so kind of humble in that you're just another piece to the greater, because there's so many. Like, I watch a lot of the stuff you do, and there's like a community of you, and I'll go and watch their stuff, and it's good that like so many people are waking up, because it's not just you guys who are talking about it. It's the following that each one of you have, and hopefully this stuff gets out to the masses. The first kind of thing that I want to talk about is probably the most recent thing, the most trending thing that we're all seeing in the world, and it's something that you've spoken about. A video you only uploaded yesterday, and that's talking about Hawaii and what's going on with the wildfires and stuff. We're meant to be living in an age now in Britain, they call it global boiling, but it's actually been the worst summer on record. It's been raining all summer. But then you go to some other parts of the world and there's wildfires. Maybe you want to take it away.
Yeah, so Lahaina just burnt down. And it's so strange because Lahaina was the capital of Hawaii. But I was just there recently visiting for an entire month doing video work. So I was hanging out in that historic district. As you know, I'm in recovery. So I went to recovery meetings right there in Lahaina. The place is burnt down. So I'm sober. And if you're sober and you're in recovery, you meet up with other people in recovery. And that's kind of how you do it. So I was hanging out where that fire was every day, because I'd go to meet with these people every day that were also sober. So this place that got burnt down, I was there for an entire month meeting the people there, and now it's gone. And while I was there meeting the people, they all told me, the locals, that they're pushing everybody out and everyone's moving to Las Vegas or another island because they can't afford to live there, as all the elites are moving to Hawaii. You got Zuckerberg of Facebook pretty much owning Kauai. You got Jeff Bezos in Maui, Oprah Winfrey, who stayed in her home for 322 days. And her roof in Hawaii is blue. So this new theory is that with these lasers that can destroy an entire town, like in Paradise, California, or wherever that was, I forget. This is technology that exists. The government has technology that's so much more advanced than what we know. So I think it's healthy to question what's going on in a respectful manner, because these are sensitive topics. The Las Vegas event that happened on the 32nd floor in the Mandalay Bay, that was watched over by the same police chief who coincidentally moved over to Hawaii. So is bad luck following him, or is there something else happening here? Because that whole event was super sus as well. And we've been breaking down the symbolism of these events. And the symbolism of the 32 goes into the 23 enigma, but also ritual with mysticism, 32 pathways. It's a very mystical number, which isn't a bad thing. So like the symbols and whatnot aren't bad, but you got these Aleister Crowley type figures who pervert the symbols. For example, a pentagram people say is satanic, but churches and Christians used to use the pentagram. The pentagram isn't a satanic symbol, but it gets inverted and then it gets sent upside down. Then it becomes satanic. So this Hawaii fire that took place is just so coincidental, and the symbolism that's showing up in it is that all this blue is still standing. Like if it's standing or not standing, the mainstream media is showing us images of a blue car, a blue boat, everything's blue. Joe Biden just showed up and he's wearing a blue shirt. All the survivors, the pictures that they take, they're wearing blue shirts. It's some weird type of symbolism being portrayed that put us, like we were talking about with the pulsating cities. I think that there's just more to this mind control to control the world than just one thing. There's vibrational sound frequencies, like through music. There's the symbols. There's a lot that goes into the control system.
Yeah, well, if anyone who is not kind of privy to this type of stuff, people who don't question, they are probably laughing in their seats right now, thinking, "What are you talking about?" But but it's been proven time after time again that government elites do lie and they do manipulate things, and everyone has motives, and we are looked at as, you could say, cattle, whatever you want to look at, to the elites. We're nothing to them. So I always bear that in mind. And the other thing I want to bear in mind is that you're not saying this is what it is. You're just saying question everything. And these are the patterns, the signs, and the things that are always familiar, correct?
Yes, correct. And I'm not trying to wake anybody up. I'm not a social justice warrior. I'm just doing what I love. I've always been researching, so I just do the research, put it out there. I'm not part of no political movement or anything like that. I'm an artist in a sense, and I just like to follow my excitement and make videos. And this is what I love to do. I've been listening to these researchers, and this is what I'd go to work and I'd be listening to these podcasts, and now I'd be printing out like stuff all the time. Like I'm looking at all the symbols, like right here, that's Busta Rhymes, and there's like Illuminati eye right there. I've been covering the purple lights popping up everywhere, and this blue that's appearing everywhere, purple and blue, go into this color frequency. It sounds crazy, but this is through the research that the ancients had a certain color of purple blue that they can transcend the world into another universe or something. Like the soldiers in Asia, I forget their names, but they're made out of Hans purple. And a lot of different religions use purple and blue because
royalty as well. The Queen used to always wear purple. It was an expensive color to make. It was known that Queen Elizabeth would always wear purple. But quickly, just to go back, just to kind of probably add on to what you were saying. So from the videos I saw about the blue, people are probably thinking, "What do you mean blue?" I think what you mentioned was like that we know in the world that there is weather manipulation. I don't know if you're talking about the same thing, but this is what I'm thinking. We know that there's weather manipulation because Saudi have, they cloud seed for water and stuff, and this may be used for nefarious reasons, let's say. Um, and is it along the lines like that blue, like the lights or the energy they're using will not ignite anything blue or purple or something? Is that what it is you're talking about?
That's the first theory that got presented to me. They were showing these lasers. So if you have a blue laser and you shine it on fabric, it won't catch the blue on fire, but if it's another color, it will.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting thing because there's all this blue that still stands. So is there something to it? I don't know. It's just fascinating how this is a town, Lahaina, that is a tourist town. Everyone has their phones out taking pictures, but nobody filmed this. There was only a few video files of what went down. Just like the Las Vegas event, it's just so sketchy. And those events did go down too. A lot of people don't think that it went down. Those did go down. I know people personally that were there, or you know what I mean. I'm from Vegas, and then I lived in. I didn't live in Lahaina. I was there, so I've been to these places.
Yeah, of course, and yeah, like the photos I seen, literally cars wiped out, a road of cars, and then there was a blue car like untouched, unscathed, clearly parked it. It's not like this is driving around. This just wasn't caught alight, and like you said, there was a few houses which, like a light blue. They were untouched, but everything around them is decimated. It is questionable, and the fact that you say that these celebrities, the elites are going to Hawaii, and the locals are telling you that they're trying to move them out. This just adds more fuel to that, and it is strange. Why do you think that is? What do you think the end goal is to move? Maybe celebrities or well-known rich people to the island of Hawaii or other places like New Zealand?
Sure. Maybe it has something to do with bugging out. I know New Zealand was a prime spot, like Peter Thiel went there to build his bunkers, but he also lives in Maui, I believe, as well, in Hawaii. So maybe they know that the rock formation is going to change through the volcanoes and all the islands are going to connect together or something, and the rest of the world is going to go underwater. Who knows? I'm not sure. I don't know why, but that's what they're choosing as well.
And the other strange thing that I saw to do with the Hawaii thing was the Mountain Dew. The Mountain Dew drinks. You had the Maui and the there was another one, wasn't there, from America? And and they were the names of the storms, were they? I think.
Yes, they were. So you had Mountain Dew, and so we're talking about these energies, these direct. I don't know the verbiage I can use, so I'm censoring myself a little bit. But these are direct energy, and Mountain Dew is DEW. So this is the way the simulacrum works: is that it is priming us through hypnotic repetition and whatever, through symbols. Like when 9/11 happened, there was all these movies of the two towers falling down already. That was priming. People call it predictive programming. This is a known thing to work psychologically. So Mountain Dew, these soda drinks like Pepsi or the alcohol beverages, they're all owned by these Illuminati families, that the top ones are, especially the alcohol brands, that they are putting these messages in it of Code Red, right? Code Red Mountain Dew took place right in 2001, right before 9/11 happened. And so right there's a priming example and a prime example of it happening in 9/11. But now the two hurricanes that were hitting District 9, according to FEMA, is Dora, Hurricane Dora, and the house that still stands is owned by a lady named Dora with a blue car. And then in Baja, California, and then Mountain Dew had the Baja Blast. So you have the same three names, and it's scary because another brand of Mountain Dew is called Pitch Black, which goes into the whole thing that Klaus Schwab is warning about the grid going down.
Like that could be like the final card, so to speak, or.
And through the symbolism of the mainstream, it is pointing towards the four corners for some reason. I'm not saying something's going to happen there, but the symbolism of the four corners and portals, like CERN, they're saying is opening up portals. They make shows like Stranger Things about it. All of the research I'm doing through reading the symbolic language that the elite show. So there's two different stories, one for the mainstream, one for the select elites, trying to decipher it and decode it. The four portal symbolism showed up the day that music died with Buddy Holly in his last performance. It's the four different corners. And over the four corners in America, in Arizona, it's the same symbol. And you got public enemies, what you gonna do when the grid goes down? Their symbols, the four corners, and it's the electric grid going down at the four corners. On The Economist magazine that was created by the Rothschilds, they show the crypto downfall over the four corners.
I seen it, yeah, on The Economist front page, isn't it?
And the eclipse that's about to take place in October, right after Friday the 13th, when the Knights Templars were all rounded up, there'll be an eclipse over the four corners. So it feels like things are getting set up for ritual, because these full moons and eclipses, there's always some sort of ritual that happens the day before or after or during these astronomical type events.
Well, yeah. Well, what was the saying when one said millionaires are not astronomers, but billionaires are? Something like, or billionaires do. You know, we might not think, you know, that the stars aligning and planets aligning is bullshit, but the people who control our world actually worship and read this, so it can easily be done. Like, it's not far-fetched. This is what they live their life by.
Yes, so things happen on certain dates, these astrological alignments. This is factual and provable. America, for example, was set up for the helical rising, which just took place. So the Lionsgate portal is all over the news. I'm not sure if you heard about this, like New Age. Lionsgate portal on 8/8. 8/8 is when the fire happened in Lahaina. And I was telling people that's a bad luck date, actually. It's not like a day to manifest.
Just to let you know, 8/8 is my birthday, 8th of August. Yeah.
Happy birthday. It's bad luck for the elite. You
Good luck
having
for
me
me.
on. So you're bringing the bad luck for the elite for exposing it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with a certain date. It's just that those are the dog days you're born into, right? And the dog days bring the heat, bring lethargy, bring bad luck. That's just what it's like. The dog days are about. But it's an important time frame. The ancient Egyptian calendar was based off of the helical rising, which took place August 12th. So August 12th is actually the important day. And August 10th and the days centering upon it are very, very important to secret societies and the building of America. Because, like, I mean, America's 4th of July is all about the sun and Sirius conjuncting, which is like, here's the sun and Sirius, they're lining up together. That makes the 4th of July. And then when the helical rising, Sirius goes above the sun, that's when the Nile River flooded in ancient Egypt. And that's what they based the ancient Egyptian calendar off of. And America is sort of like the new Egypt and whatnot. On the back of our dollar bill, we got the pyramid. And all that. But I mean, This is a worldwide thing. That's just trying to show that astrology plays a huge role.
I think the thing that I want to say to the listeners as well is what I found is the more I look into it and the more I kind of, you know, research, everything's connected. So you might be sat there saying, you know, the Nile flooded, but then, you know, on the back of the dollar sign this, and people will be like, whoa, what did you mean? What do you mean? But when you actually, the more you study, the more things make sense. Do you see what I mean? And I just wanted to put that out there for the listeners, that people who actually do research and look into this, like this, it's above us and beyond us. And I think maybe elites try to control it. I don't know, but it certainly is fascinating. Can you give an example for an everyday person to look and see an obvious kind of connection there with how they speak?
Okay, for sure. Well, Confucius says the world is not controlled by words or laws, but by symbols. So, I mean, ancient people knew about this. We see symbols, the hieroglyphs, a lot of the same symbols are still used today. Why do we see the same pyramid symbol, for example, as a level of like hierarchy and power? We just see these symbols all over the place. In the geomancy, the ley lines, you got different parallels. They're the 33rd ley line, the 33rd parallel, which a lot of death row states are on. So it's like, are they charging that up with death? Someone dies, like and astrologically on these certain dates, you could tie back all these things I'm saying, that these elite people, Rockefeller, JP Morgan, the Queen had a personal astronomer with her, John Dee. We're all into this. John Dee was very focused on these certain ley lines as well. The Knights Templars were. So you could just see it through history that the elites like this. Like if we don't believe it scientifically, the elites did. And there is scientific proof of certain spots are more magnetic than other spots in the world. And that's just like for real, for real.
So fascinating.
It
I
is
want to
fascinating.
It is. It is. You know, if anything else, if you think this is rubbish, if anything else, it is fascinating to listen to. What I want to ask you, Donut. So people think they have their answer to life, or they have their belief system. Some people believe, you know, scientifically we came from a big bang. Others believe it's from Adam and Eve. What is your outlook on life? What is your theory? You might not have it yet. I don't know. But how do you think things are played out, controlled? And are we, you know, I hear you say simulation a lot. I don't know. Please, could you tell?
You know, I don't think I'm wise enough to know. I don't think any human, we all have faults, right? We all have the 7 deadly sins or character defects that sometimes are used for good. I believe in God, and I didn't for a while, and I did for a while, but I do now, especially in recovery. I feel like being in recovery, I have a different outlook on the world, where I prayed for the help and I got the help that I needed mentally. So someone who doesn't believe in God did something, so it opened my mind to maybe there's more to reality than it seems. And I feel like everything's sort of a learning lesson. I I think everybody's on a different path. I think my path is forgiveness, because that seems to be the most toughest thing to do, and I'm getting pretty good at it. Forgiving, and I don't know. I don't think that we know. I don't think we're capable of knowing, just like how we're not capable of seeing gamma rays or whatever.
Yeah, I get that.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, I want to say that, you know, when you talk about forgiveness, I hope that you know that the biggest part of forgiveness is comes from the wrongs you've done, and hopefully you've forgiven yourself for those things. It seems like you're at peace with yourself, and you know you're on the right path. Myself personally, whilst in prison, I read a lot of books. I read the David Icke series, Zachariah Sitchin, those type of people. But even when you read them, someone will always come along when you believe you have the truth with these, and they will say they're controlled opposition. They're compromised. These, like, I believe in a higher power. I definitely believe there's a God. We are created by something. I don't know what. But for a long time, I did think that there were other gods that kind of came from wherever else. And I, you know, like the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, that type of stuff. You know, there was a lot of that in me for a long time. The way that maybe they came to mine gold and they created us in their image, so to speak, and we overthrew them. And that's how we've got these ancient civilizations, and you know, we kind of reset, you know, and I think we always go through that reset maybe. And I think we're getting to a point now in life where it's not self-sustainable anymore. And sooner or later we're gonna crash and start all over again, maybe. But then, you know, I'm kind of open to all theories because I don't know the answer, so I'm open to all of them. That kind of simulation sounds pretty, you know, there's things, glitches in the matrix, we say. I definitely think we live in a matrix. I know, like Andrew Tate talks about a lot of this escaping the matrix. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I do believe in predictive programming. Some films like The Truman Show. It's like I genuinely, like, a firm belief of mine is I don't think we went to space, or if we have, it's a time that they haven't told us. I think the times they said we went, we never. So I don't know. You know, there was a long time where I believed in UFOs, but now I think there may be aliens out there, but I think it's more it's a lie, like, you know, it's to scare us and maybe to control us. So, you know, everything's fascinating to me, and it's a deep one, isn't it? Like, you know, and I think that's why I enjoy watching content like yours so much, because there's just so much out there that we don't know. But I genuinely think that it's been hijacked. Whatever this life is, it's been hijacked by a powerful, I wouldn't say energy, but it's, you know, we always talk about the cabal and the elites. I think they have hijacked. They're in control of it. Like, you know, this isn't how it should be. You know, um, that's what I think. You know, and I think they use magic, dark magic, and energy harvesting and this type of stuff, ritual symbols to control us.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. Yeah, me too. I read all the Ike books and reading all the books and listening to all the different researchers as well. And yeah, it's I feel like we're all on our own journey, you know, to find out where they were. When I first heard about this stuff, I was freaked out and I was paranoid. And it wasn't until I went into recovery and learned sort of how to deal with life that it doesn't matter what other people are doing. It does matter, like it does matter, but there's nothing I can do about it other people's actions. All I can do, because I have no control over other people, and I can't have faith in other people as well. I gotta rely on a higher power or God, and then you know, I mean, that's what. So doing that, my life got better by
Yeah,
applying spiritual principles, which are ancient, that are in all religions, pretty
yeah.
much.
Do you think that we go to an afterlife? Do you think of, like, what are we here for? Deep, I know.
I do. I think so. I mean, like, I feel like I was, let's say I was a little sperm, a little tadpole, then I was a baby, then I was a teenager, and now I'm a man. But I was still the same person, but I'm in different bodies. So why wouldn't that just continue? That's just kind of what I think. I think that there is an afterlife. I don't
Yeah,
know what it is,
yeah.
but I think so. Yes.
And why do you think these, like, kind of elites then? Why is it so demonic? Why is life? Why is everything pushed in our faces demonic? And this is maybe what we can jump onto, because it is definitely a topic that I like. Is like the celebrity culture, the you know, the humiliation rituals, the way the world is going. It does seem like we are being pushed one way.
Yeah, it's just like it's the polarity. Like without bad, we won't know what good is. So without me doing something bad, I wouldn't know what something good is. It's kind of like that polarity. And maybe we're just all like just humans that got character defects, and some people are more psychopathic. Like, let's say if you're born in one of these like Illuminati elite type families, and you're taught since a child, or not even like Illuminati elite, just like if you were a prince and you had a kingdom, and like your father, like Alexander the Great, his father was like warlord sorta, right? So like you're trained since a kid to be okay with going into a town and taking over it. That's a good thing, and in a sense, right? So like or even our concepts of good and bad can be programmed through imprinting as a kid. So like all these belief systems since a kid that our parents had, that our parents' had, has been imprinted into our DNA. So some people, there might be good and bad, but I think that there's acts that are universal. There's a universal truth to stuff, which the like 7 deadly sins maybe could have got it right there. Now, when you do it, you don't feel good about yourself, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or oh, I feel esteemed. I have self-esteem now because I did some esteemable acts. I feel good now. I accomplished something. I got the dopamine going. I did a project. I did an interview. I'm building something. I don't know where am I going with this. I don't even know. I don't know anything. I'm not the guy that asks anything about. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna ask you the stuff you do know. Then maybe we'll stick to that. Yeah. Another one that was pretty recent that took over the mainstream media was Ocean Gate. Do you have any kind of take on that? Do you think what they were giving us is the truth? Because I the JP Morgan and the dates aligning and all this stuff was quite strange.
Sure. Well, just like the Titanic sunk a year before the Federal Reserve was built, and there's this thing called a king kill ritual, and that's what JFK went through, or even Martin Luther King, where this goes back to ancient times, where they take out a king and replace it with like a new king. And you could kind of see this in high school. If there's a bully and some new bully kid comes in and takes down the bully, he becomes the new bully king in a sense, right? Yeah. That's like what this king kill ritual is. And I think that it didn't just happen with presidents like JFK, but I think it also happens with ships like the Titanic sinking and the submersible sinking. And these are pushed all over mainstream news. So it's in the simulacrum, kind of like the girl on the plane who said that she's seeing people and aliens. And she did that on National UFO Day on 72, and there's 72 bricks on the back of the pyramid on the dollar bill. So I think that these are rituals that take place to set up for something in the future. For example, the Titanic sunk a year later, Federal Reserve. JP Morgan owned the Titanic. JP Morgan helped set up the Federal Reserve. Now the submersible sunk, and now next year, the CBDCs, we're entering the digital CBDCs.
So the crash of the...
Yeah, it seems like it's the same type of...
And they were, the same as JP Morgan. They were billionaires on the craft. It was very similar, wasn't it? Like similar events, we should say, which is quite eerily similar.
Yes. And astrologically, if you look at the analemma, which makes this Ouroboros figure 8 in the sky, I believe it's how the sun travels in the sky. It happened on the summer solstice. So this is like a ritual day. And the next thing on the analemma would be the winter solstice. So I'm looking for another big type of mainstream ritual that take place on the winter solstice. I'm always trying to read and predict the next ritual to take place. And sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong, but I'm learning. Like we don't know the code. So we like putting it out there is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because we keep learning from trying to decode this.
Without being big-headed, would you like to go through some of the ones that you think you've comfortably predicted?
Sure. I know astrologically there was this subway explosion that happened, and I predicted to the exact date a couple of years ago. I said there's going to be egg shortage rituals. Egg rituals, I mean, not egg shortage. I said there's going to be egg rituals all year because the egg shortage that happened. And then Rihanna's baby at the Super Bowl being pregnant. This is the #1 watch show in the world, the energy harvest of America's version of football. and not soccer. Soccer is way bigger than football. So
Well, if America put soccer as their first sport, they'd probably be the best in the world. Population wise, they're a massive country. They should, but it's crazy. They call themselves the American League, but like I know Canada plays it, but they're the only ones who play it. Like it's there's no other countries involved. But yeah, I like American football. But you're right. Super Bowl is the thing that everyone watches, and it's all eyes on that for that time. And every year, without fail, the Super Bowl performances are sus. They are suspicious every single time. I don't think I've ever seen a halftime show that is just normal. There's always something about it, and it's always painstakingly obvious.
Yeah, so you got all these people watching this show, this ritual that takes place, and there's always crazy symbolism. And 50 Cent, he was in this ritual. Eminem was as well, and he's singing about the New World Order, the song he was performing. And 50 Cent's hanging upside down, and that's symbolism of the hangman card in the tarot. And he's on tour right now. So I'm looking at him for some sort of ritual to take place with him or someone associated with him around August 30th, and a day centering upon that. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought Rihanna was going to have her baby on Alien Day on 7/2 or June 24th, but she had her baby on a big Freemasonic, that like Helical Rising Day, which is just another big ritual day as well. She's an ambassador for Barbados, so these celebrities are into politics heavily.
Of course. Lady Gaga, Joe Biden, best friends. What a dodgy mix. I probably
open up the inauguration with Tom Hanks. So there's this celebrity connection to the politics because the celebrities have more influence, so more mind control for the rest of the world.
There was that conspiracy, wasn't there, like about a year or two ago, when everyone thought that Tom Hanks was dead, and the Ellen DeGeneres thing, that they were getting arrested. Are you privy to any of that? Do you know anything about that? Or
well, so right before Ellen DeGeneres got canceled and her show ended, she did the hangman. She laid on her couch doing the hangman, and it looked like she had a one of those things on her leg. Yeah, right. So so there was all of this stuff coming on, but that could have all been just a psyop, right? Like who to trust these days. So you have a lot of these movements come in to muddy the waters. So that could have been a muddy the water situation. But
look,
who
over
knows?
here
Maybe they're just AIs. They could just be AIs generated. I don't know.
Let's not, man. It's AI. And I have to say, your new intro on your thing, is that AI?
Yeah, that's AI.
So there's positives to AI. It is sick, I'm not going to lie. I am scared of it a lot, though. Just to stay on to the celebrity kind of thing, because, I think you got you've had favorites you kind of cover on as well. I think it depends on what it is, but maybe just quickly, what do you think of the Travis Scott concert back last year? That was something I was deeply fascinated for a long time. Is that undeniable, like, kind of evidence of something happening?
I think so, because Egypt wouldn't have him due to those ritual natures of his concert. So even like Egypt itself came out and said, we don't want you performing here because of your rituals. He is married to the Kardashian clan. So he is embedded with these elite families like the Kardashians, which bring nothing but degenerates to the world through the billboards. The simulacrum is the billboards of the Kardashians. We're not looking at them. They're looking at us for us to imitate them. It's all sick. It's very sick, and how dumb they are. Like, you know what I mean? So this whole Kardashian connection is straight connected to Elon and the Neuralink agenda as well, because they're always changing body modifications, and that's where it's all leading to. So the Travis Scott event took place November 5th, which was Kris Jenner's birthday. And then you got the Jenner watching it, and she was bathed in blood during one of her makeup commercials prior to this event that went down. People in the audience and the police reports heard strange noises before the event happened. The cameraman on record wrote it in the police report, strange noises happening. People were hearing strange noises. Could there have been some sort of sound frequency? Like we were talking about Hawaii with lasers, could be a light frequency. So sound frequencies are known to use for changing the attitudes of people. There's a lot of mysterious things happening with concerts like Taylor Swift. People are getting amnesia, not remembering the concert. And this thing with optogenetics, like this slide right here, the purple lights that we've been looking into, in the movie Men in Black, where they flash the light and it changes their mind.
Yeah.
That's optogenetics. That's a real thing, where they can plant memories or erase memories in the head through lights. So I think the Travis Scott is definitely a ritual. His birthday is the same day the Satanic Church in San Francisco was founded. Just a lot of strange things. He was wearing a Pearl Jam t-shirt.
Yeah, and he died. There was death at the Pearl Jam concert, wasn't there? You know, see you on the other side, and yeah, I looked into that, and it was pretty deep. And again, it's like you said, the Kardashians. There's never been anything good that has kind of come with them. It still baffles me to think that they're famous not because of Bruce Jenner being an athlete. It's because of Kim Kardashian fucking Ray J on a porno. And now little kids look up to these people, and you know, it's baffling. But you know, you got Kanye West.
Debauchery.
Yes. Like, what do you think of Kanye? Like, is Kanye still Kanye right now?
I think Kanye, he's straight connected to the Illuminati. He's pretty much created by Jay-Z, Beyonce's wife, which is the Rockefeller Nation, the ROC. They give us two different sides of the coin, but it's the same coin. So you have the Jay-Z's and Beyonce opening up the Hillary campaign. Then you got Kanye meeting up with Donald Trump, but they're both part of the Rockefellers.
Yes.
So this is the way the Illuminati celebrities work, is that there's a side for both of them. He is definitely a Knights Templar.
You obviously, yeah, I like that. We a lot in the media in the last couple of months has been a lot of talk and a lot of disclosure with UFOs.
Oh yeah.
What is your take on UFOs, and why do you think this is?
Yeah, so UFOs, the disclosure that's happening right now is a psyop funded by the Rockefellers and the Clintons. If you look into Lawrence Rockefeller and his UFO disclosure initiative, he wanted to make an umbrella of UFO disclosures with certain people, like Greer, even on the Wikipedia, the main guy that
Stephen
everyone
Greer,
loves. Yeah. Even on the Wikipedia, it says, oh, he might be affiliated with the Rockefellers. So even that source, it says that as well. And then you got people like Blink 182. 182 days until the end of the year lands on July 2nd, National UFO Day. Blink 182 is conducting this UFO research. They're an arm of the military-industrial complex, according to Wikipedia.
But how is a band, like, again, would you say that's down to the influence on the public? Hey, he's cool. Tom DeLonge, he's part of a band. Is that what it is?
His company stars in strap-ons or whatever it's called. I don't know the name of his UFO company. It's a part of the military industrial complex because you got military figures in it, ex-CIA agents. All of this disclosure is coming from the CIA. It's coming from the skull and bones in these secret societies. And what I think that they're leading us up to is a disclosure which will be fake. Yeah, there's octopus aliens on Europa. That's what they say in the Rothschild Economist magazine, that people will be reset because they want to bring in a new religion. They also want to bring in a holy war I believe as well. So they want to divide everybody, divide the religions, the races, the sexes. Um, it's called Carol Quigley called it like the divide and conquer, where Carol Quigley went into it, Bill Clinton's advisor. It's divide and conquer, and it's used the same strategy used for the UFOs. So when the balloons went over Hawaii, the balloons went over the Super Bowl, the UFO, they're saying it's a Chinese spy balloon or it's a real UFO. Those are the two stories the media gives us. So we only could go to those two sources. But what about all the other options? Yeah, so there's something being set up definitely for like a psyop with this whole thing. And if there are UFO and aliens, they're not coming from above, they're coming from the ocean.
Oh, what? Explain.
Most of these reports that are coming out are coming out of the ocean, the UFOs. So right there says it all. You got the storyline through Hollywood showing us the UFOs from above through the movies, through John Lennon talking about him seeing UFOs, Chris Brown talking about the UFOs. They're coming from the ocean. So this guy, John C. Lilly, who was termed the new Aleister Crowley by Timothy Leary, he would do these experiments with LSD and the Illuminati dolphins. So they would like masturbate the dolphins, communicate with them, try to learn dolphinese or whatever.
Illuminati dolphins, please. What?
Yeah, so I titled them the Illuminati dolphins because they're doing this research with dolphins to communicate with them. So like the show Stranger Things, where they go into these isolation tanks, the 11 does to communicate with the other side. John C. Lilly was going into this communicating with the dolphins, and he did so effectively that when he decided he wanted to end the project, the dolphins committed suicide. They stopped eating. When he came up with the idea to stop it and the decision in his own mind in the isolation tanks, and the reason he was being funded by the government to do this research was to speak to aliens underneath the ocean.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So they're the Illuminati
shit.
dolphins.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And what about like the stuff in Peru as of late? Do you think this is all just kind of adding fear factors again? Because we never get to see clear footage of any of this stuff, do we? It's always like distorted imagery, or we don't see it at all.
Great point. They just said there's a new Bigfoot video out as well, but like you can't see anything. So the Peru thing, where's the evidence? These alien disclosures that they're talking about at the government. So you got the Canadian government, America, got all the governments talking about the UFO disclosures with no evidence. And that's exactly what the Rockefellers were setting up, was to create an umbrella of just misinformation where there's no factual evidence to point to. So what you just said is exactly what it is. So in Peru, aliens are landing. In Las Vegas, the aliens land. No video footage of it, but it's all over the mainstream media news. And it happened the day the Illuminati was founded on 5/1. So you got Area 51 before the whole world got locked down. There was Storm Area 51. These are all algorithms leading up to this disclosure, I believe, which is fake.
I think the fun thing about it quickly is like the funny thing about it maybe is when people look at maybe, you know, normal people, I quote there, normal people, look at someone like yourself who talks about these things, you're a conspiracy nut. Straight away you believe in aliens, but it's actually the total opposite case. You don't believe in aliens really, and if there is, it's, you know, you're looking into that stuff, but it's always like an agenda behind it. And then of course now these people who have never believed in aliens are actually listening to CNN and Sky News and the BBC telling them we've had a UFO shot down, and people are actually believing this shit. Like, why would they keep it for so quiet for so long, keep it under wraps, to now all of a sudden hold public meetings? And yeah, I just think it's a bit crazy. I watch like I you know, like the Bob Lazar thing was a pretty good watch and stuff. Like I watched the Rogan pod, but the guy who made the documentary with him, like he was at the disclosure thing in the I forget his name, but he was at the disclosure at Congress or wherever it was held, and I just felt like he just gave this massive like actor vibe, like he's just an actor, you know, and I just feel like they're all in it together for an end goal, you know.
Yeah, and Podesta as well, who's doing the spirit cooking through the WikiLeaks that we found out about in the Clinton camp. He's funding all these movies as well. So I mean, it's so psyop-y. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Doenut, man. Honestly, I could probably speak forever with you. But obviously we have a time limit on here. But what I was thinking is maybe if, you know, we could make this something we could do maybe once a month or something, because obviously, you know, ongoing events all the time. And you know, you're always breaking down things that a lot of people wouldn't look at or just think it's just an unfortunate event. Things that a lot of people should be looking into, really, just to wake them up. So, you know, I'd love to get you on again. How have you found it? Have you enjoyed it?
Oh yeah, thank you. I would love to come back. Thank you. You come up on my show too. That'll be so much fun as well.
Mate, that would be
thank
wicked.
you for having me. But yeah, I want to be back. I want to be back here.
Where's the cat?
Cat. And I'll get the cat.
Where's the famous cat?
Catty cat. Oh, come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, come on. Oh. He's sleeping.
Oh, there he is. He looks so chilled. My mum and dad got a cat and it's so violent, but yeah, he looks proper zen. Why do they call you Doenut? Where's the name from?
I came up with the name when I was in California working for a hip hop producer, and he was teaching me about branding. And I was at Costco, miserable, hated my life, couldn't stay sober. And that thought popped in my head while I was sober. It would be cool to write Doenut, D-O-E, because people are like, what up, dough? Or dough is money, or dough could be weed. Dough goes into so many things. So I just wrote it down. And then I was like, you know what? Someone hired me to do a music video. And I was like, I'm going to use this Doenut and see if it pops. And it did. People liked it. And I did music videos for over 10 years, working with big name artists in the underground. People like Twisted that were on Psychopathic Records. I did videos for Necro, Gmo Ski, Mad Child, just a ton of big names in the underground.
Nice, man. It's crazy how names stick and names pop up. Yeah, man. Honestly, it's actually been quite surreal talking to you, you know, watching you for so long, man. What we do with our guests normally to kind of see it out is we get them to like leave us with a positive message or something to think about. And I would like you to finish it in the same style. If you could kind of look down the camera to the people, wherever they're watching from, and leave them with something to think about, maybe.
Okay, my favorite conspiracy, I'll leave you with this, is that everything's gonna be all right.
Hey, thank you so much. I just want to say, guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you want to see more of Doenut, you know, we could make this something that we could do in the midweek and just, you know, because normally each episode we drop on a Sunday, but we could do it like where we could pop up in a night and have a live chat or something. If you enjoyed this, guys, please hit the like button, subscribe.
Smash that like button. Smash that like button.
And tell them, tell them how to find you. Tell them everything, bro.
You can find me at doe-nut.com or just look up Doenut, and that's spelled DOENUT.
Yeah, he's on all social media as well. Instagram, YouTube is obviously the one in the Rumble, because YouTube don't play ball sometimes. But yeah, no, honestly, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Stay central.
The Central Club.